Joining us, an Olympian is in the building. We have Olympic high jumper, Team USA, yay, 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 Rachel McCoy. Yes. Now, what had happened? Welcome, Rachel. Hi. So your mother called the show. It was several weeks before you. Well, I think you were in Tokyo to tell us, she's so proud. And I said, when she comes back, gotta get her on the show. So thank you, Mom, in Cali. You're here. Mm-hmm. The best thing about representing this country or going to Tokyo to represent this country, what was the best thing for you?
I would say the best part was being out there with like-minded people. It's not every day where you're walking alongside several other Olympians there for the common goal of bringing home a medal for their country. So in that regards, it was very unique. It was very cool.
I saw pictures and images of like cardboard beds and, food and the quarantine issues and not to bring up all of the bad stuff, but was it challenging, or did you live in the Olympic Village, or did you have your own?
No, we were in the village, and yes, there was cardboard beds. But the cardboard frames wasn't even the bad part. It was actually kind of impressive how that was able to maintain our weight. The worst part was the foam cots that they gave us. Like if they would have given us some box springs and mattresses, then cardboard is okay. I would have been okay with that. But it was just, oh man, it was tough. It was definitely tough.
All right, Tonya had questions during the break, so I'm gonna.
I want to know how you learn. How to do what you do. Like your mother was proud of you, but did you tear something up in her house, jumping over it? Like how do you become a jumper? How does that happen?
No, I tore up things in our house doing other just mischievous things. No, I actually was dragged to the track by my friend in high school, Terrace Williams, who was a high jumper. But I really come from basketball, and at that point in time, it was a very beginner stages of basketball. I've just always been able to jump really high. It was always been my goal to either jump over things or, jump and touch the top of the door threshold or some other object just to challenge myself. But I've always been a jumper at heart.
Rachel, how tall are you?
I'm 5'11". That's debatable, but I'm saying it. I'm 5'11". Oh my gosh.
All right. So who's arguing? What are they saying? You're shorter than that, or?
Oh, taller. I always get 6 feet. And then when I stand next to someone who says they're 5'11", of course they're never 5'11". I'm always taller than them. So yes, it's an ongoing debate amongst, me and a few other track athletes actually.
Now high jumping, you have to, there's a bar that's like the way up in the air, and on your in your stocking feet or in your sneakers, you are lifting up into the air and then over the bar backwards.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of the limbo or something.
That's one way of putting it. Yeah. Maybe next time I jump, I'll think of it like that, and it won't be as stressful. Just do opposite limbo.
So I was going to ask technique wise, and how, Tonya asked the question, how do you get there? But when you first did the event, and then you're like, okay, I'm good at this. How do you train for something like that?
I actually went through an extreme learning curve when it came to my natural ability to jump high versus adding technique and breaking down that natural ability to conform to the technique that you would need, because high jump is nothing but physics. You'll see all walks of life in the women's high jump, especially. You don't necessarily have to look athletic. You can be, just the not traditional athlete and still jump amazing heights. A young lady from the Ukraine just won the Diamond League, and she, walking down the street, I wouldn't have glanced twice, but she won maybe at, I think they got to 202, so 6'7.5", I think she won.
What's the technique? Like maybe I want to try it next time I'm out in the draft.
Do we have a notebook? We have pen and papers. Are we ready? I'm gonna bust out some scientific physics.
Give us some science, yes. Yes.
Okay, so the technique that us high jumpers do nowadays is called the Fosbury flop. It's typically a total of 9 to 11 steps as far as the approach goes before you have takeoff. The 3 main forces you want to build in this approach is centrifugal force, centripetal force and hinge moment. So basically saying, as you're bringing speed into the curve and you're leaning inward and you're leaning back, once your plant leg hits the ground, the forces that you've collected will take you up and then over. Mm-hmm. Y'all catch all that? So
yeah, it's
You're
a lot of
great
science.
teacher.
yeah,
You're a
Yes.
great teacher.
thank you. I coach kids, so this has been drilled into me, and now I'm repeating it to my kids.
Rachel, I'm curious as you describe that, what surprises you most about you?
Oh, wow, you caught me off guard with that one. That's a great question. I guess I always surprise myself, being a young person, and I will admit I've had my dumb moments where it's like, oh, gee, Rachel, just being able to look back and see how far I've come without that much time elapsing. Like I've had such a journey, and to be able to continue to put my head down and still keep going is probably my biggest accomplishment.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and it's a good lesson for
Yeah.
all of us.
Never ending. It's a never ending lesson.
Let me bring in Lindsay. Lindsay is one of our producers here, our video team. Lindsay Smith, she had a question.
Hi, Rachel. So I do yoga. I've been doing yoga since I was in high school, but I'm getting certified this year. I'm very close. And so as I started to do inversions and arm balances and that kind of stuff, my awareness when I'm upside down or when only 3 of my limbs or 2 of my limbs are on the ground changes and fear kind of sets in. And I started to think about the kind of spatial and aerial awareness that became the topic of conversation around Simone Biles. And I was wondering then, of course, with you here, like, how does that play into high jump, and like, what is that feeling and that aerial awareness?
Oh, that's actually a great question. So a lot of photos of me that I have, me going over the bar, you can actually see me peeking over my shoulder to see at what point in time can I gauge where my hips will go over the bar, because at that point in time, I know I need to put my head back in order to raise my center of gravity. But I never know these things for sure, so it has to do with a lot of spatial awareness. And honestly, I plan on doing yoga in my off season just to practice on, breathing. It's a lot of awareness. But yeah, it's spatial awareness. Hopefully you have it by nature, but it's kind of hard to practice.
Well, Lindsay may have a new client. You're gonna have to travel though, post COVID. And before I let you go, and thank you, Rachel, for being here. This COVID, navigating a pandemic, going to an Olympics, going through all of the things that you had to prepare, and now are you preparing for the next Olympics? Are you back in training already? Does it stop?
I'm preparing for the next major championship, which is actually going to be Indoor Worlds 2022 in March. And then we have Outdoor Worlds in 2022. So the Olympics, yes, it's in 3 years, but the next coming years, we have some major competitions coming up. As far as does it stop? Yeah, for maybe, 2 weeks or so. Mentally, I'm excited to get back to it because my season ended on such a high note. I just know I can do better. And I know I have 3 years before the next Olympics, which is more than enough time for me to master what I'm doing.